Hello, thank you for dropping by our page, and I'd like to give a very warm welcome. My name's Stuart and I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes introduction to what Scientology is and how it can help you solve problems and overcome situations in life. Now, Scientology is a very practical subject. It's not something that you believe in or anything like that, it is something that you do. In fact, if you look in the dictionary, it's defined as Scientologist, one who betters the conditions of himself and the conditions of others by using Scientology technology. So Scientology technology is a whole branch of knowledge that covers everything from how to get on better with your spouse, how to bring up your children well. It has answers to the problems of drugs and drink in society, to the problems of morals and criminality, how to be more efficient at work, how to get on better with people, improve your communication skills, handle your finances. In fact, if it has to do with life or with living, Scientology has answers that you can use to improve the conditions in that area of your life. What I'm going to do is give you a very brief example of using one of those tools, one of those little bits of technology to improve a situation that you will probably quite commonly run across in life. And what you should do after that then is have a look at our website, have a look at the blog. We've got a lot of videos, some very professional, lovely videos that give the exact details of parts of this technology. Every now and then I'm going to pop up and give you a more down-to-earth, like, this is how you could use it. We're going to have some interviews with people who have used Scientology to overcome situations and problems that they've found. And you'll find that a lot of them have got very similar things going on to what you might have, and it will be interesting to see what they've done about it, and so on and so forth. So stick with us over the next couple of minutes. Afterwards, if you want to like this page, then you'll find out an awful lot more about it. Hope you find it interesting. Okay, so I want to tell you about how you can use what we call ARC in order to handle an argument, to patch up an upset with somebody. Alright, ARC are three initials which stand for Affinity is the first one. Now, affinity is how much you like somebody, alright, or how much you don't like somebody. If you have affinity for somebody, you like them, you want to be near them, they're your mate, you love them. If you don't have affinity for somebody, you don't want to be near them, you want to get away from them, you don't want to talk to them, you don't want to be around them, you don't like them, you hate them, that sort of thing. There's a scale of affinity. You can have a bit of affinity, a lot of affinity for someone, loads of negative affinity even. Okay. The next letter, R, stands for reality. Now, reality, what is real? Things are real to the degree that we all agree that they're real. See, there's no disagreement, I don't think, that this is a whiteboard. You see, the solid things in the universe around us are very, very real to us. We all agree that that's what they are. Some things are not quite so easy to define like that, though. Ideas that we have, likes and dislikes, are more real to some people than to others. Like, you and your wife might watch the same film and you love it and she doesn't. Alright? There's no agreement there. What you think is not very real to her. You think it's great and she's like, get real? Yeah? She thinks it's awful and you're like, get real? You know? There's no reality between you on that subject. The third of the three is communication. Now, communication is the interchange of ideas between people. Now, the interchange of ideas between people is something that's very different from just talking to somebody. Not always, when you're talking to somebody or shouting at somebody, do the ideas actually get across. You can't say that you've communicated with someone unless you've got an idea from here over to that other person and that other person has understood it. Very important. This guy has an idea, he's thinking, it'd be nice to have an ice cream. If he communicates this well, this guy will end up with the same idea here, that he wants an ice cream. If he miscommunicates it, then this guy will end up with some completely different idea or a variation of that idea that's not the same. So communication really only happens when you've got an idea from one person and it ends up that same idea with the other person. And of course communication should also be a two-way thing, and so this person's idea, if he has one, should also end up with this person. Alright. Important, because these two things, affinity, reality and communication, are very, very closely linked. In fact, they are so linked we put them together in a triangle. We call it, this is really original, the ARC triangle. Okay, the ARC triangle, that's what it's called. Affinity, reality and communication. And we put them together like this because whatever you do to one of these will affect the other two. So let's take reality, for example. Reality, like I said before, is the amount of agreement that you have with somebody on some subject. If the agreement goes down, if you disagree on something, your affinity for the person comes down. You don't like them as much. And your willingness to communicate with them comes down. If you really agree with somebody on something, you know, you meet somebody, you don't really know them very well, and you suddenly find out that they are great fans of the same pop group that you like, and you're like, gap, 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 yeah? There's a lot of reality there all of a sudden. There's a lot of agreement on that subject. You talk a lot about it, and your affinity comes up. You think, hey, this guy's all right, you know, you like this guy. So these two things are very closely related. Now that might be fairly obvious, but what it does is it gives you a bit of an in, a bit of a way of handling a upset. Because, let's take an example, you're at work, here's your boss, comes along, you're in the middle of task A, okay? You know it's a quite important thing, you need to get it finished by the end of the day or there's going to be all sorts of trouble, let everybody down and that sort of thing. Your boss comes along and says, drop what you're doing, you have to do task B. Drops it on your desk and walks off. Now you're not too happy because you know task A needs to be done, your boss has given you task B which you're pretty sure is not that important. You've got an upset there. You're not so happy with your boss anymore, all of a sudden you don't feel much affinity for him. There's not much communication going on because he's just walked off and there's a lot of disagreement. Okay, happens a lot. Might be your boss, might be your wife, who knows. What you can do is have a look at this triangle, see what went wrong with it and then work on patching it up again. In this case you've very definitely got a break in the reality point. The reality, you think job A is much more important, he comes along and he wants job B done. You think that's not very real, you don't have an agreement there. What can you do about that? What you need to be able to do is address this point. If you address any one of these points, then it will have an effect on the other two. Communication is always a good one to start with, because here's you, and you're pretty sure task A is important. Here's your boss, and he's pretty sure task B is important. Now, these two ideas are different. So there's no reality there. If you are able to communicate, as in you can get this idea across to him so that he has that idea, and allow him to communicate so that this idea that he has ends up over here, then you now both have the same idea. Alright? You both have the same idea. Now, as to which one is most important, I don't know. But now you both know what the other knows, you can probably work it out. So it's this communication bit has resulted in this agreement here. So the communication started it, the reality has gone up, and all of a sudden, you're friends again. Now it seems like a very, very simple idea, but it is very, very effective. And if you can just pause and think with this, anytime you have an argument, an upset, a disagreement, see if you can see which point has dropped out, and see if you can see what you can do to put them back in again, then all these three will come up. Now, there's quite a lot more to know about this. That was a very, very quick little example. I hope you found it interesting, I hope you found it useful. I hope you can go away and actually try it the next time you have an argument with your boss, or your wife, or your kids, or your dog. I mean, it applies to anything in life, actually. All you have to do is understand it, and then have a look for yourself and see how you can use it. So go away, use it. If you want to know more about it, like I said, like our site, like the page here, and you'll find all sorts of other stuff. You'll find links to videos of me doing silly little things like this. You'll find links to some beautiful professional videos. You'll find articles. You'll find all sorts of useful information. The whole idea is that you can go away and use it, and you too can use it to improve conditions of yourself and those around you in your life. Thank you for listening.